Oh yes, one night, he almost got into real trouble with that slingshot with a drunken Japanese officer. This is father. He was terribly good with a slingshot and seldom missed his target. For ammunition, he used a round clay pellet instead of a stone and it made a painful red mark. This is Senora Bandana, a Spanish woman renting the downstairs portion of our house.
Please leave so we can take in other boarders.
Mi corazón es para ti, eres la reina de mi vida.
Please leave.
She pretended to understand nothing but Spanish. My father continually begged them to leave so we could take in boarders. Finally, they compromised by giving us back 2 rooms which we needed for Mr. Solomon and Bonnie. This is Bonnie. Bonnie was a 4th cousin from Batangas on my mother's side. He had gotten stranded in Manila when the schools closed and came to live with us because he found it easier to make money in the city on buy and sell. And this is Mr. Solomon. Mr. Solomon occupied what had been Senor Bandana's sala. He hung up his hat and his crucifix and locked the door and never opened it again. Mr. Solomon owned vast salt beds in Bulacan and his dream was to control the salt market in Manila. When Eden and Lina came to stay with us, I gave up my room to sleep with mother. Eden and Lina's father was Papa's brother and they used to live in Cabanatuan. My brother's room was the largest in the house. It was the size of the sala and the dining room together because in the good old days, it had been a billiard room. His friends Celso, Paquito, and Nonong were always in Raul's room for they were trying to put out an ambitious book of poems. Celso's father had an old printing press, rusty from disuse, and they lugged it up to the room and were always tinkering with it, trying to make it work. Nonong's room was too small for the piano, and so of course, it ended up on Raul's room. Paquito could play Stardust on the Steinway, and Celso could do a rib-splitting pantomime, but best of all, I liked Nonong, although he couldn't do anything. Nonong was always trying to make an intellectual out of me. The few books I read, Les Miserables, Rashomon, Graustark, and Inside Africa were all from him.
Bonnie, help! Help! Bonnie!
I'm coming, Mr. Solomon!
The house had burned down, and Bonnie had gotten himself burned trying to save Mr. Solomon, who had panicked and couldn't get himself out of his locked room.
I said keep him quiet. Do something.
Beat its head with a bottle! The bottle was thrust into Papa's hand. He raised his hand for the blow and brought them down limply. He had a weak stomach. He next tried to strangle the tiny neck, but his fingers turned weak and rubbery. The soldier was almost upon us. Luckily, the baby quieted for a moment. Only when the footsteps receded could we talk. Papa said,
Eden, go away with your child and save us, and maybe you two can be saved elsewhere.
Lina cursed restlessly. pillow she had been carrying all this time and put it on the baby's face. Then, she sat on it hard. The mother stared dumbly at the earth, her hands dangling between her legs. There was a struggle under the pillow and a smothered whimper. Eden took the dead baby and began rocking it to sleep.
Where's Eden?
I don't know.
Where is she?
Where is she?
Eden!
Maybe she went somewhere and buried her baby.